Well, it looks like Manchester City's outcasts are on their way out of the football club. This is Football Talks. We're talking today Manchester City in the transfer market. And then finally, after a quiet spell, after a bumper start to the window, getting into gear again. We all know that Manchester City do like to fetch a premium for their players when selling them, and they are good at it. You cannot argue with that. But Jack Grealish for 50 million... never was going to work, was it, off the back of that season? No one convinced enough with that injury record, his performance levels at Manchester City, that was going to happen. But Everton are taking him on loan. It is a done deal. It's a medical today, and there is an option to buy him. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's get into the comment section. If you are watching the video, please, and let me know if you think that this is a good move for Jack Grealish. Savinho to Spurs as well is also on the agenda in the show today. We're talking about that. Is he really worth what Manchester City are asking Spurs for? And what are Spurs thinking? Again, is he worth it for them? We'll talk about that in a minute. But let's get on to Jack Grealish and let's start talking about this move. A loan deal for the rest of the season, full season loan for Jack Grealish at Everton. Obviously, a good play for David Moyes to be signing. Actually, I think this is a fantastic transfer for Everton Football Club. I think David Moyes has done well here. Everton obviously not bringing in too much so far this window. Loan deals are going to be key to them. To get a loan deal for a season of a player of the quality of Jack Grealish at Everton, I still cannot believe how Aston Villa didn't go back in for him with the forwards that they are lacking at the moment. But hey, look, this is now a done deal. Ornstein has broke it. So it is the season-long loan, but there is an option at the end of it for 50 million quid. So Jack Grealish a year older for 50 million for Manchester City. I'm not sure if that one is going to be triggered. I'm pretty certain nobody's in the market for a 50 million signing for Jack Grealish into his 30s. I don't think that'll happen. But for this season, that part of the deal, I completely see where Everton are going with this. I think it's a fantastic signing. I really do think that this is actually Everton doing good transfer business here. And again, with the new stadium, everything that's on the up at Everton a little bit more. Jack Grealish coming in, another quality player there for David Moyes. David Moyes himself being at Everton is a big thing as well for that football club. I think they are completely safe from relegation. For me, I wouldn't have them in my bottom three at all, looking at the start of the season and what business has been done, how they're playing. Like I said, you will need to actually get... comfortable in the new surroundings, the new stadium. I think that's probably a big thing that we're unknown at the moment. Sometimes new stadiums work really well for clubs. Sometimes it backfires and you don't get the necessary bounce that you would hope from a new stadium. But someone like Jack Grealish, I think, will thrive at Everton. He will be the focal point. He will be the main man. Here's a question for you as well. Did Pep Guardiola really dampen down what was a fireball in Jack Grealish? He was awesome, wasn't he? He was absolutely brilliant for Aston Villa. Did he get worse at City is the question I'm asking, because I just feel like Jack Grealish needs to be the main man. He needs to have the freedom to play the football that he wants to play. I think under David Moyes, Jack Grealish is going to be a star. I really do. I think David Moyes knows what Jack Grealish is and what he's all about. I think a lot of managers would, to be honest, but Pep Guardiola's got this system, and not one player is bigger than the system, and they have to fit into that and fall in line. Jack Grealish is a free spirit type of player for me, and I think City killed him. Even though he's won all of the medals that he's won, and he'll thank City, and it's been the most successful time of his career, yes, and yes. But him himself, personally, I think they definitely have played him down, and I think this is why he's not in the England fray anymore. I think he wants to be in part of the World Cup, and I think this is why he's going to Everton, because he's going to play week in, week out, and be the star of the show, shining for Everton. And I think Everton will reap the rewards of this deal. I think it's fantastic business for Everton Football Club, and thank God Jack Grealish has been allowed to leave Manchester City so he can now go and play the football that we all know he can play, which is freestyle brilliance, just being let off the leash to do what he does, rather than having to work in that Pep Guardiola system. It's alright for some, not for others. And you can't really complain. He was part of a treble-winning side, so it worked for Pep, just about. But I think there's more for Grealish. I think there's more to come. And the ever-changing face of Manchester City continues. Jack Grealish gone, Kevin De Bruyne gone. Obviously, they're an ageing side now at Manchester City, but when you're bringing the likes of Ryan Shirky, you're going to be replaced, aren't you? That, I think, was writing on the wall, not featuring in the final for Jack Grealish. I think it's the right time for him to go. But alongside him, a player that has just come into Manchester City is Savinho. And Tottenham Hotspur all of a sudden interested. Apparently both clubs have spoken, but Manchester City are not wanting to sell him. They've told Tottenham that he's not for sale. But when you look at this, when you look at the deal here, City have said, oh, we'll think about it. We'll think about it for 50 million, more than 50 million. Is Savinho really worth more than Jack Grealish? I understand the age factor, but for me, Jack Grealish is twice the player that Savinho is. I like him. He's a skillful player. He's all right, Savinho, but I'm sorry, that end product is shocking. And if City can cash in on him and bring somebody else in, I would go all out for that. I just don't see how Tottenham well, and maybe if, again, it could be the same scenario as Grealish going to Everton. Maybe with all of the freedom that he might get under a Thomas Frank system, he might play better. He's in the Champions League. I mean, Spurs have got that. I don't know. Maybe City will loan another player out. I can't see it, to be honest, because I think Pep would like the rotation. But then again, Pep Guardiola did say at the start of the summer that he wanted a smaller squad. Doesn't make sense to me with the amount of competitions that City are actually in. But Savinho for more than 50 million, is he worth that? I mean, Man City fans, get in the chat, talk to me. What do you think? Is it a good deal? I don't know. Honestly, I think he's probably in and around the £40 million mark, that player. I don't think he's done anywhere near enough this season for Manchester City. And he's been part of one of the worst seasons ever for Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. Not saying that's all on him, but clearly they didn't get their recruitment bang on the money with that last transfer window, Manchester City. And January was a bit of a panic, wasn't it, in getting players in and getting players in quickly. And it still didn't work out for him. Potless last season, Man City. So, again, Savinho part of that. And I've never convinced. Maybe they didn't want to let him go simply because he's only been there a year. Maybe second year syndrome might kick in. He might be good, he might be bad. But if Spurs are willing to offer more than 50 million, I'd be snatching their hands off and reinvesting that money straight back into the squad for Manchester City. I think that's where I would be anyway with it. But again, it's down to Pep Guardiola. Does he want to give Savinho a little bit more chance? Is Savinho better than anything that Spurs have got, by the way, in their forward line? I don't know. If Savinho's going to play on the right, I'd still play Kulusevski on the right hand side. That's what I would play. Brennan Johnson's in there as well. I know they're missing Maddison, and Maddison's out for a while. Can he play more centrally? I'm guessing here, and I'm guessing out loud. I don't know where Savinho fits in at Spurs above the other players, and whether he's good enough in the first place. 50 million, God, it goes to show, doesn't it? If you're successful, you can actually drive a hard bargain. You can actually get a good price for any player, it would seem. There are clubs out there that are trying to scrape deals together to get anybody out of the football club right now. And you've got City who are just naming their price and selling players willy-nilly, it would seem. Although no one paid for Jack Grealish. And I think that's telling in that as well. But good business for Everton. Get into the comment section. Will Jack Grealish be better at Everton than Manchester City? Is it the right call to make? Get into the comment section. Let me know what you think on Savinho as well, everybody. Those are your big transfer updates at the moment. Thanks for joining us on the show. Make sure you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for all of your Premier League updates throughout the summer. I'm Adam. This is Football Talks. See you in the next video, everybody.